When I was growing up, I thought I was going to become a fashion designer. I showed my sketches to my mom, and she thought it best that I go to school for medicine.
Does anyone else want to do the exercise? All right. Yeah. Hello. My name is Kiana. Even though I love this class, I did love Stack Overflow because I'm a front-end web developer. And it basically gave me tools to become a full-stack web developer. And I was really happy to take any information I got from here. And it wasn't something just pertaining to one field of information. It definitely directed it to graphic designers as well. Basically giving them a heads up, you should definitely brush up on your HTML and CSS.
Working in retail, I realized that for some positions, especially managerial positions, it's just like a non-stop hamster wheel. And you've got to be on it non-stop, and this has to definitely be something that you're interested in and you have a passion with. Otherwise, someone hungrier than you is going to come up behind you, and they don't care that you have a child or not. They want that position, it's theirs. I felt as though my passion wasn't as strong as everybody else who was climbing the corporate ladder. So I decided to take that pay cut, go part-time with work, and go back to school for my bachelor's, not just for me, but for my son. If I'm gonna work hard and bust my hump, I wanted to be in something that I desire to do, and that was definitely front-end web development.
Beyond Coding is a 10-week-long summer program for New Yorkers who are trying to get their first job in technology. There's a huge disparity between the number of developers that are employed and the number of open jobs. There are about 5 open jobs for every 1 developer right now. I reached out to the Tech Talent Pipeline and to several other companies and kind of said, hey guys, what can we do to give back? One of the things that we realized is we all have these fantastic offices. We all have really smart people who know a lot about how to get a job in technology. So as a way to give back, we decided to build a program teaching what we've learned from different areas and then just give that to students. We knew right off the bat that we are not going to be able to teach people how to code in a 10-week-long summer course. But I talked to a lot of the customers that we work with at Stack Overflow and kind of said, what do you guys see as the major disparities in skills with entry-level developers and design talent? And a lot of what it came back to was a lack of professional skills, things like communication, networking, knowing how to talk about data, knowing the way about navigating it in the workforce, even just getting past that first interview or that phone screen. So since we all have experience in these areas, that was a part that we really thought we can make a difference and give a group of students who already has some coding and design know-how just that extra push that will get them past that first interview and hopefully put them closer to getting a job.
Beyond Coding program is helpful in the sense you can become a very strong coder, back end and front end, but if you don't know how to convey those ideas and express them to a person you're interviewing for, or perhaps a client, like doing an elevator pitch or having a strong LinkedIn profile, you're gonna fall behind. So you have to be hungry when it comes towards freshening up your portfolio side, your resume, and being a strong presence when it comes to being interviewed as well. And that's what Beyond Coding really helps out with. If you have a desire for something, no matter how old you are, just go for it. Even if it costs you in the long run, I'm sure student loans are gonna catch up to me one day or another, but it's worth going for.
All right, good on you.
I know.
It's the jobs of the future, man. The jobs of the future.
I know.
We're going to be replaced by robots, Melody. The robots are coming.
No,
by
by all those lovely web developers.
I love that they all look like Brooklyn. It actually looks like the place where we live. So
absolutely, absolutely. Beyond Coding is affiliated with New York City's Tech Talent Pipeline, part of a first-of-its-kind $10 million public-private partnership that aims to help grow the city's tech sector and provide good jobs. As you saw in the video, the course comes out of a collaboration between the Tech Talent Pipeline and a group of tech firms, including Kickstarter and Tumblr.
Well, here today to talk about this new program from the website Stack Overflow is one of the Beyond Coding founders and one of the stars of the video you just saw. She would be Program Director Bethany Marzuski. Welcome to BK Live.
Thank you. Great to be here.
Well, you've also brought some friends along. Max Sklar is an engineer at Foursquare and a Beyond Coding instructor. Hey, Max.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. And Shlomo McGinn is a student from the NYC College of Technology and a future web developer of America. Thank you for being here, guys. We appreciate it. So you're breaking down that whole office IT guy who doesn't know how to do anything but eat Cheetos and be condescending to folks.
It's so true. Developers are not what they used to be. It's becoming such an essential skill for anybody who wants to have a future in technology. Even designers need to know about front-end development or they're not going to be able to do web design. And every time you're using data, there's code behind that. And we just really wanted to be sure to be arming people with these professional skills so that we could make them useful to the companies that are just hiring off the map.
Right. Bethany, your company, Stack Overflow, came together with Foursquare, Tumblr, Crest, Trello, Kickstarter, and then with New York City's Tech Talent Pipeline. How did you guys all find each other? How did you come together with this pipeline initiative? What do they do? Tell us about the beginning.
That's a great question. So I had met Lauren Anderson with the New York Tech Talent Pipeline during a time when she was recruiting companies to be on their quarterly advisory board. These are companies that are committing educational resources or committing to hire homegrown tech talent from New York City. And she was asking if Stack Overflow, which is home to the largest developer community on the internet, would want to be a part of this initiative. And I said, hey, this sounds fantastic, but so one of the things that we have as a startup, unlike Facebook, Microsoft, Google, is that we can't really hire a lot of entry-level talent right now. I knew that there were a lot of other companies like us in the area, sort of like that video is just showing, and particularly from within the Union Square Ventures network, which is where I derived a lot of these partnerships from in past. So I knew of companies like Foursquare and Tumblr and Kickstarter, and came to them and said, hey, I know you guys are trying to promote different diversity and educational initiatives. Do you think you'd be willing to kind of go together with us on this?
So Max, you got snared into the trap and you started helping to teach young people. So what kind of, was there an average, if there's a such thing, student that you met up with? Did you see a lot of overlap in your students' abilities, or what kind of person was attracted to the program?
Well, what we had was a very diverse group of people, and there were people who were developers, web engineers, there were people who were interested in design. And so we kind of had to teach the class and speak to everybody. But our topic for the course was technical communication, or communication in the workplace. And this was something that was applicable to everyone, no matter what they were interested in. I had some of my own friends come along who were in totally different industries, and they came in and they said, oh, this is practical information. So I think everyone got a lot out of it. And yes, I did not know what I was getting into when I volunteered. Miriam, who was the other instructor you saw in the video, came to me a few months before and said, would you like to do this? I said yes, and then we sat down and we were going to give a course, a 3-hour course on communication in the workplace. And we've done talks before. We've done talks at General Assembly. I've done talks at NYU, but they're always something that was based on some technical idea. So I could say, okay, what did I work on the last 3 months? Let me just talk about that. Or what's just some concept that I learned in school? I could talk about that. Here, we really racked our brains a lot. We sat down and at first we were like, I don't know how to start this talk. So we really sat together and thought really hard about, what do we wish someone had told us about this when we started out a few years ago?
That's a good place to start.
Yeah. And it was actually a lot harder to put on this talk than it was for a lot of others, and it really was a pleasure to do.
So how'd they do, Shlomo?
Yeah.
Great. I learned a lot. It was definitely very informative, and I'm really happy to have been a part of it. I definitely learned a lot, things that I would not have learned in class. And I feel like it really would help me in my job search as a web developer.
Did they find you or did you find them?
So I was actually part of a program, an internship program with my school in City Tech called BTIP, Brooklyn Tech Triangle Internship Program, and was actually a requirement. But yeah, so they came in, Max and Miriam came in, and they told us, all about it, what to expect, and the next time around. So in the first round of the internship that I did, they introduced it to us, and they said it was optional for anybody who would want to learn about it, and I was definitely interested. But then when I did the internship the second time around, then it was a requirement. So then I had to go, but I was going to go regardless.
Okay.
And I'm really happy that I did.
So do you guys fully partner with the university as well?
So that was part of the partnership we had with the New York Tech Talent Pipeline, is that they said, hey, we can help you find students who meet your criteria. We all know a lot of developers in tech, but that wasn't our target audience for this group. So they helped us reach out to different CUNY programs, different other programs educationally around the city to say, hey, who wants to get a job in tech? Who doesn't already know someone in the space? And who would find this the most helpful? And we had almost 400 people apply for the program.
If we're looking at a space where there was the number that there's like 5 available jobs for every sort of 1 applicant, how did New York or Brooklyn specifically become this like tech capital? Like Seattle's got Microsoft and stuff, and there's all of the people in that sort of Apple bubble, but maybe even Boston people thought would sort of eat our lunch. But Brooklyn is really owning that tech space now.
Yeah, it really is. I think initially it was probably a lot due to real estate costs, just for office space being cheaper in Brooklyn. But we at Stack Overflow have done a lot of just census data about where developers are, and we're seeing more and more Brooklyn rising to the top with specific languages and technologies, particularly among the newer ones because of that tech scene emerging here.
Nice.
My first job out of school was in Brooklyn. It was at Wireless Generation, which is now called Amplify. It's over in Dumbo.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of those guys. So looking at this job front, we know you guys have a job fair that's coming up. What kind of jobs can people expect there for a young Shlomo who's leaving the nest of City Tech soon?
Yeah, so the culmination of our program happens tomorrow evening. That's Wednesday. It's hosted at AppNexus. We're having about 15 New York employers participate. Everything from the larger companies like American Express, NASDAQ, New York Times, to some newer, nimbler ones like Square, Percolate. Every company is hiring multiple openings across developer, designers. Some are looking for internships. And as a requirement, every student had to complete homework after every course. But we're hoping that the homework assignments are going to be the conversation starters during these meetings.
Wow. How can students find your career fair, get involved, get prepared?
So it's open to all the students who went through the whole Beyond Coding program, finished 5 of 6 courses, and turned in their homework. So we were being sticklers about making sure people were really committed to it. As a preparation, we sent out some email with some tips and are kind of asking everyone to look over their resumes. We're also going to have a little resume review station at the career fair for some added support.
So are you going to wear a tie tomorrow? How are you going to go in and bust up this career fair?
So I haven't really decided yet. I'm just going to wing it. No. Yeah, I'll probably wear a tie.
Tie is required.
Definitely wear a tie. Probably a suit. I'll sweat a little bit for a job,
So Max, this is a thing though, because we look at the Zuckerberg phenomenon and every sort of pop culture reference to coders or people working technologies, the guy in the hoodie. Like, do you show up with the suit on for your interview? Do you come in? Like what is the lay of the land like?
Yeah, it's always tough because you don't want to underdress, you don't want to overdress, and it's always a sticker.
Right?
Yeah. I try to. Last time I've done an interview was a while ago, but I always try to find some happy medium, maybe like a few buttons, and so they'll be like, okay, this guy is dressing up, but if you show up for the interview at the company, sometimes in a suit, people are like, oh, it's too much,
Yeah. That's a tight line to walk, right?
It depends
if
on
you
the
know your
audience.
stuff, you'll be fine.
Right. So is Beyond Coding growing? Are you guys looking for other companies to partner with?
You know, this was our
and-
beta test, really.
Okay.
We were really shocked with how positive the response was. We had, again, nearly 400 students apply, 200 accepted, over 100 completed the program. So now we're going to kind of take a step back and see, okay, do people find this useful? Do companies find this useful? Where are we at? And see if it makes sense to make it bigger, partner with some other nonprofits in the city, and kind of go from there.
So looking at this tech landscape, we talked a bit about diversity and how the folks in the package actually look like riding the train around Brooklyn. There's every sort of person represented. How is tech doing in terms of like equality and pay for women and bringing in diversity? Since it's sort of a new and growing place, have they leveled off more than traditional fields maybe?
I can't speak to the salary range, but I do know that, like every other industry, there's a diversity problem, particularly among gender diversity. Probably won't surprise you to hear that nearly 90% of developers all over the world are men. And it's something that we're seeing change over time, but it takes a long time. So the women that we are looking to target aren't the ones who are just getting into the career force now. We want to be targeting them in middle school, younger, so that by that time they're ready to start looking. The coding jobs don't feel so far away.
Yeah. How do you guys begin to make young people realize that these are jobs? Because this isn't a job that was there when I was a kid, but now, like, do fourth graders say, I want to make video games, I want to be a coder? Is that a thing?
Well, yeah, I mean, sometimes we have high school groups coming into the office, and we show them a little bit about what we're working on.
Yeah.
Foursquare and Swarm are a little in that space where you could start to get excited about it in high school. There are some apps though that younger people use a lot more. I mean, everyone's got a phone. Everyone's excited. I don't know what age people get phones now. Like what, 9 months, 8.
Well, how'd you get into it?
Well, it all started when, my father brought home a computer when I was really young, and I just as a kid, just was very curious about what this thing can do. And funny story, actually, the first programming or coding thing that I did was figure out how to change the high scores in Minesweeper, because me and my sister were trying very hard to beat each other.
Oh,
I cheated.
Did it.
I did it. I told her.
Sister, if you're watching.
Well, it's out now.
And then
a lot of good learning comes out of attempts to cheat.
Well, that's a good place to start in this election season. Thank you guys for being here.
Thank you all
Definitely
so much for being
appreciate the
here.
work you're doing.